today we're going to talk about how to protect yourself from black magic. Now, this is specifically if somebody is doing black magic against you and you are feeling the effects, because this can be very difficult. Black magic is heavier than a lot of other types of magic, and you can have mild to major symptoms depending. It can just be emotional things like anxiety, headaches, just feeling very extremely fatigued. Some people will throw up. Some people will start shaking. There's all sorts of things that will come up. Panic attacks, there's all sorts of different things that can come up for you if you are having this issue, right? If somebody's doing this to you. I've got 4 tips that I would suggest that are the first things I would try if you are suffering from this. So before I go into the tips, I do want to give you a little 411 about black magic from my personal experience. Now, I will say I don't have a huge backlog of experience in doing black magic. That's not something that I usually partake in. And the reason why is because I've had some bad experiences just looking into it. And so that has really deterred me. I think in life we're really curious about a lot of things. And I think when you're a magical practitioner, it's kind of good to know the lay of the land. And maybe you don't want to practice something in particular, but just being curious about it and having some basic information helps you navigate around it or in conjunction with it. So I was looking up protection spells one day because I was having some problems with some of the lighter ones I was doing, and I was really suffering. And just in the process of looking things up, what I noticed was the energy around me shifted, and not in a positive way. And then the next thing I noticed was I was sitting at my desk by my window, and there was this negative, just really kind of scary, heavy, angry, kind of evil energy that just was kind of flowing around on my front patio, just kind of pacing back and forth, just waiting for me to acknowledge it, waiting for me to access it, waiting for me to invite it to work with it. And the scary thing was I was just looking up information and it was there. And that really didn't make me feel very good, and especially because of the energy that it was putting off. So at that point, I was like, whatever this is too much for me. It's not too much for other people, and that's fine, but it was too much for me. So I just shut everything off, tried to clear my space out, throw up some protection stuff, but that energy stuck around for a couple days afterwards, just on the periphery. It was just there, just waiting, just like in case I changed my mind. And ever since that particular experience, I've been very, very careful about the type of magic I do and who I work with. Just really from my perspective, not something to be messed with. If you have a different experience, that's fine. I'm just sharing mine with you. So that's what I would say about being careful when you are diving into these things, because what I have noticed also too is not only is that energy just really heavy to work with, it doesn't tend to go away easily, and it usually comes with a price or a cost to you, right? It's not just something you can use without a serious effect happening, right? And some people are fine with that and some people aren't, so it's up to you to make the call. So that's what I would say about that. Now, let's talk about the 4 things I would encourage you to do to protect yourself. So the first thing that I want to talk about is spiritual hygiene. Now, what is that? Well, that's basically keeping your energy field kind of clean and free from anything that's kind of you have picked up, right? Human beings are vibrational beings. We're made of energy, and the world is made of energy. So as we are moving through the world, we are picking up energy. And if we are tired, if we haven't done our spiritual hygiene, we take things on that aren't ours. Or we open the door for those things to easily come in and attach to us, or for us to carry them. So that's why spiritual hygiene is very important. Spiritual hygiene also kind of transfers over into the living space that you're in, whether it's your home, your room, your apartment, whatever that is, because if that space is not energetically clean, it also can attract other negative energies and aspects that we don't necessarily want to have in our space that help us and prevent us from functioning properly. So that is the first place I would start. What I would also say is a lot of us don't work on our spiritual hygiene every day, right? Like you don't energetically clean yourself off a lot of times when you get home for being out and about. You might not sit and meditate every day and clear your energy. There's a lot of different things and processes that you can do in order to have good spiritual hygiene. But, like our house gets dirty, and a lot of us, we're too busy, we're too tired, we're too many things that we let stuff slide. And that happens energetically and vibrationally as well. So that's why it's really important, especially if you are under attack. So that is the very first place I would start. Do it however it feels good to you. There's no right way or best way to do it. It's just whatever you intuitively feel called to do. I would say follow your intuition. Now, second most important thing is to get rid of any and all things that the person who's doing the black magic on you has given to you or that are in your home. Now, sometimes we know who the person is or where the attack is coming from. Sometimes we don't. If you don't, you're going to have to skip this one. But if you do or you have an idea, it's a good thing to remove these items. Why is that? Well, it's giving that person even more of a direct line into your home. That's the first thing. The second thing is this person may have given you something that unknowingly, unbeknownst to you, has a spell or a charm or black magic in it. I had a friend one time that I will just use very generally for an example, is not to out anybody. Somebody had done some love magic against her, black magic, and it was pretty dark. And they had given her a bottle that they said was perfume, and it did smell nice and everything. But he had put something inappropriate in there and did magic on that perfume that he had given her in order to elicit that response from her, right? In order to get her to fall in love with him, in order to get her to feel attached to him, in order for bad things to happen to her if she resisted him. So we ended up getting rid of that and a bunch of other things, and the energy did lighten up a little bit after that. We still had to do some clearing and stuff, but that is something I would say is very important, because you don't know. You may have thinking, oh, maybe they just gave this to me as a nice gift, and maybe they're not so nice. So definitely take a look at that as well. Now, the third thing that I would say to you is a good kind of workaround until you can figure out how to shore this up another way, is to make a poppet, right? What's a poppet? Well, it's just one of those little, it's almost, people think of them as like little voodoo dolls, but instead of making one of someone else, you're going to make one of yourself. And what's going to happen is you're going to make one, and then you're going to put it somewhere, and you're going to have the energy redirected, because the energy is coming towards you. And if you designate this doll to be you, then the doll will start soaking up some of that energy, so it'll go to them instead of to you, and that will be very helpful. Some people like to use mirrors for this as well, so that once it soaks up there, it doesn't like bounce off anywhere. So if you want to make a little box of mirrors, you can put the poppet in there as well, if you're worried about that happening. But that's another really good way to at least release some of the energy, so you can start doing some other methods to protect yourself, because sometimes that's hard to do when everything's coming at you, right? It's very difficult. So try that and see if maybe that doesn't help lighten the load a little bit. The very last thing that I would say is really important during this whole time is to make sure that you are grounded. Now, I know this seems like kind of a cheesy, generic explanation to do, but what I find is most people aren't super grounded these days. They do the things that they're supposed to do, and they might think they're grounded, or they just might be having trouble in general. And the reason this is happening is because we are so disconnected from our bodies. A lot of people are really mindful up in their headspace. They've got everything going on right. They're thinking the right things, they have the positive attitude. They're assessing and understanding situations from an observer perspective. So they've got this going, but there's so much disconnect with our body. And a lot of it comes from the lifestyles that we're living too. It's been designed to disconnect us in a certain way. So I think really making an effort to get grounded and connected with your body is going to be really helpful for you. A really simple place to start if you are struggling and the black magic's discombobulating you, or you just don't know where to start and you're just feeling heavy, do some earthing. Go outside, lay on the blanket, lay on the ground for 20 minutes. Lay longer if you can. What I would say about this practice, while it is very beneficial, because it's kind of like a cheat, you don't have to do anything, which I think sometimes is nice. People are like, this is too complicated, I want the easy button. There's no easy button, but this is a simple technique that will help you. I want to give you a heads up that when you are grounding, if your energy is very dirty or very imbalanced, what's going to happen is you might feel a little bit worse before you feel better. That is just the energy of the earth, getting rid of toxins and different things that are in your body from a whole host of other stuff that's going on. And it also is resetting and rebalancing your energy and resetting it to the vibration that the earth is vibrating at, right? Which is a neutral, general healing energy. So that is another thing that I would suggest if you're having a hard time with grounding, because it is very easy. If you don't have a patch at your home, go to a park and lay down for a minute. Go to the beach if you're lucky enough to be by one. A lot of times too, if people don't have that, I know people will lay on like boulders and stones and things like that. Some people might, it's not super comfortable, but you can do it. You can lay on like brick, because all of these things are natural earth grounding elements too. So if you can't get to grass or sand or something like that, that is something else that is available to try. So those are my 4 tips for you guys. I hope they were helpful. If you're going through this and you need additional help and you'd like to work with me, I'd be happy to do anything I can, because I know this is a really difficult situation if you find yourself in it. I've been in one before too. It is not fun. So hopefully that was helpful. If you've got any other tips you want to share, drop them below in the comments. And once again, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have an absolutely beautiful day.